morning, everyone. I know it's been a while since we've had a regular homestead vlog, and I really don't have too much going on today. We have a lot of things that we need to do, and just not a lot that I want to do. But I wanted to give you an update on some things. We had a really rough summer around here. Our last roughness was this little girl right here, Miss Brown. As you can see, she looks pretty rough and ragged, getting quite bald. But a while back, I believe I showed you guys, she had been sitting on a nest of eggs when something attacked her and ripped open the front of her. She healed up okay and she was doing great. Then she decided she wanted to set on more eggs, and she laid some eggs up in the garden, and a chicken had laid a couple of eggs in her nest, and we let her set. Her eggs were not fertile, they were all rotten, and but she was so happy to set there. The 2 chicken eggs actually were fertile and growing very well, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with her because none of her eggs were good. Well, I didn't have to worry about what I was going to do with her, because one night I was sitting in the kitchen and I heard a commotion outside. I came out. She was next to the kitchen. There were feathers everywhere. She had gotten attacked again. So she got ripped open on the front side again. She had a puncture wound on her leg. I put some silver, I don't remember what it's called. It's a spray that I got from the vet. It's a silver that's supposed to stop any type of bacteria or whatever. And I sprayed that on her wounds, and I kept her locked up in the barn for a couple weeks before she even wanted to come out. She's still not doing great. She's very slow to move around, kind of hangs out a lot. I'm really worried about her, but from now on, we're not going to allow her to set on a nest anywhere outside of the yard, maybe not even outside of the barn. She is such a good mother, and she wants to set eggs so badly, but we're going to lose her at this rate if we're not super careful. We could lose her anyway. Like I said, she's not looking very good. She's losing a lot more feathers. So it's touch and go right now to see if she survives this and starts feeling better. But what can you do? You can't stop a bird from wanting to be a mom. Being a mom is great, right? And here we have a chicken mom. We've put her in the chicken hutch. She likes to raise her babies in here. These are the 2 chicks that were from the 2 chicken eggs that Miss Brown were sitting on. When Miss Brown got attacked, we took the eggs and we gave them to this hen because she had already been wanting to set, and she was very broody in the hen house. She won't let me see the chicks. She's very protective. She's a very good mom. There they are. So those 2 chicken eggs that Miss Brown had been sitting on, they were fertile, growing very well. So when she got attacked, I took them and gave them to that hen, and she hatched them out, and she's doing great with them. Okay, so before that, we lost our rabbit doe. If you remember, I bought a pair of rabbits, a buck and a doe, and we don't know what happened. We spoke to a vet. One day she was fine. The next morning I came out to feed and she was paralyzed. Her back legs were paralyzed. She couldn't get up, she couldn't move. And I put her by herself away from the bucks to give her a chance to rest. She hadn't fallen because she was in her cage. I mean, the cage was very small. So there was no way she fell or anything like that. We can't imagine what happened to her. And so we moved her away from the bucks, gave her some food and water and a towel to lay on. Thought she might be getting a little bit better because she was dragging herself around a little bit. But the next day she had passed. So we lost the doe. We still have all the bucks, unfortunately, and the 2 does that we've had that can't seem to get bred. So we've moved the 2 bucks over to here. We've got Gingerbread Man here, and he's the one that came with the doe that we lost, and then Casper is in the top. Now we have bred Casper, to these two does over here, and these two does have not gotten pregnant. So we didn't know if the problem was the does or Casper the buck. That's why we picked up a new buck and a new doe. We were going to breed Casper to the new doe to see if she got pregnant, and then breed the new buck to the old does and see if they got pregnant. And that way we could eliminate which one was the faulty partner. But we lost that doe, so that plan is out. Now before that, I think the very next one before that was our rooster Ruby. He was a Americana rooster, kind of had a wine color to him, and he was locked up in the barn with some hens. And one day I went out to feed and he was in the nest box and he was dead. I don't know what happened to him. He wasn't sick. There wasn't another rooster in there to attack him, so I have no clue what happened. He put himself in the nest box and passed away. So there is another rooster around here I was hoping to show you, but I'm not sure where he is right now. But he looks exactly like Ruby, and his name is Rusty, which is kind of funny because Eddie's father was called Rusty, but he looks just like Ruby. He has that rusty color to him. That's why I named him Rusty. But I don't see him around here. He's out and about somewhere with all the chickens. They refuse to stay in the yard. Okay, so before the problem, or before we had found Ruby in the nest box, we also lost our peacock, Mr. Redford. Again, no idea what happened. I don't know if it just got too hot and he couldn't handle it, but he was fine one day. Plenty of food and water, fresh water, all that. We went out to feed in the morning and he was just laying there and he had passed. So now we're down to 2 pea hens, one of which I spent $200 on to give Mr. Redford a mate, and now we don't have Miss Redford, so she doesn't have a mate. And the other pea hen was one that just happened to show up one day and wanted to get in the pen. So now we've got 2 pea hens and no peacocks. So at some point in the future, I'm hoping to pick up another peacock to give the hens a mate. So all around, it was a pretty rough summer. It was quite hot, quite dry at times, and it just took a toll. We lost a couple of quail. There's a white rooster right there. I think I hear Rusty behind me, but that white rooster's name is Pinky. And here is Rusty, if he'll stand still long enough. He looks just like Ruby. And I started to call him Ruby Jr. and I was like, nah. He's got that rust color to him, so I named him Rusty. Where you going, Rusty? He's a pretty boy. So, oh, I totally forgot. So that's what happened through the summer with the animals. Then we picked up a couple more animals. We come back out in the yard because I totally forgot. I don't know how I could forget. But we got these little guys. They aren't so little anymore. We got that one, and we've got this one. What you doing? So one's a male, one's a female. We're not keeping them to breed. The male has been fixed. They were tiny when we got them. They were, well, they fit in a chicken cage when we brought them home. They definitely wouldn't fit a chicken cage now. So they're growing fast. And I had somewhat tried to get some all through the summer. I really wanted to get some pigs because we were getting very low on pork meat. But I was having a very difficult time finding any. And then I started looking again, and you know, because you look for a while and you're like, well, there isn't any, so then you stop looking. Well, then I looked again and I finally found a gentleman that had like 30 pigs, and I probably should have got a couple more than 2, but so we picked up these 2, and I really wish we could have gotten them a couple months earlier, because I think we're down to about 2 pork loins and 2 packages of pork chops at this point. So I have been hoping to harvest a wild boar, preferably on the smaller side. Some people say they're good, some people say they're bad. I won't know until I try it myself. But I've been hoping to get one, because if they are good, then it could save us money on feed on raising pigs, but also right now it could substitute us, or could provide us with some pork until these 2 are ready for butchering. So that's all the animals. The other thing I wanted to update you on was the garden. Eddie went ahead and got this all done and recovered. It is ready for onions and garlic. I've got the garlic, but I haven't put it in. I got way too lazy and forgot to start my onion seeds, so I ordered some onion seed starts from Haas Tools. So instead of being a bulb, I'm guessing it's going to be a plant that, you know, they started them from seeds and then they'll ship them to me. I ordered 250. Hopefully that's enough. Hopefully they all make it. We still have tons of onions in the freezer from this year. We have enough to last us the year, I'm sure. I have at least 5 or 6 gallon bags full of onions, so I'm hoping 250 will be plenty. I also have some broccoli starts that I started from seed. They're not doing super well, but it could be because they're still in the seed trays, and I really want to get those in the ground as soon as I can, but there's so much going on. Nothing big, just a bunch of little things that kind of takes up your time. But anyways, this thing with the loofahs is still growing. We've still got all these green loofahs here, and some that are ready to be harvested. So I don't know if I've showed you guys. Let me set the camera down here. If I can get one of these off. All right, well, I can't get it off the plant, so we're gonna do it right here. I don't know if I've showed you, but when they're dry like this, you basically just crunch it, and then you can peel the skin off. And it comes off really easy. There we go, now we've detached it from the plant. And there you go. You've got a loofah sponge. Now they are full of seeds, so you'll want to, we set them out in the air to dry, and then all the seeds will come out from the end. They are quite full of seeds, so you definitely get your seeds back on these. There's still lots of green ones, lots of ones to be harvested. And here are the potatoes that we planted. Eddie had to put this net up over them. This is netting that I had from Colorado for raising my pheasants. But the chickens were getting in here and digging out all of the cut grass that we put on there as a mulch. They were digging it all out, and every day we would come up and the grass would be on the walkway, so we'd put it back in there, and we couldn't figure out what it was until Eddie actually saw them digging around in here. But the potatoes have done fabulous so far. And one day when we were putting the grass back in, I found a potato. And that's what we're doing up here right now. I don't know when this video will come out, but today is the 20th. So Thanksgiving's in 3 days and I need a couple of potatoes for Thanksgiving. It's kind of funny because a couple of years ago when we moved here, Eddie didn't like sweet potatoes and I grew them anyway. I was like, well, Ocean and I like them, so I'm gonna grow them. And then I grew them and I cooked them and I made them just like I do white mashed potatoes, but I made them with sweet potatoes and Eddie actually likes them. So we use them, we make fried potatoes with them, we make mashed potatoes with them, and he likes them. But now the problem is Mikey doesn't like sweet potatoes. So I need a couple of white potatoes for Thanksgiving dinner for Mikey. And I'm thinking I'm just gonna pick one plant, dig around at it, and make sure there's at least one potato in there, and then just pull the plant up. So I kind of want to try one that has been damaged by the chickens. So these were all really big and they were standing up tall and looked really, really good before the chickens got to them. And then I guess they walked on them or whatever and they knocked them down. So let's check this one right here and see if we can tell if there's any potatoes in here. I don't know if this is one plant or two. This one, oh, look at that. I see a potato right there. Okay, it's really small, but it's still attached. We can leave it. Let's see here. I know we could cook small potatoes, but I'd really like to find something a little bit bigger, so I just need a couple of them. I'm not finding anything right here on this one. So let's leave that one. And let's move down here. I know there are potatoes in here. Like I said, we found one. It was about the size of a baseball. So there's another small one right there, really small. And I really don't want some tiny ones if I can help it. This ground is really wet. We just had a bunch of rain. So, I don't know. Oh, there's a potato. Okay, that looks like a good size one there. So that's coming off of this plant here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this plant up. I know I could just dig around and take a couple of potatoes. There's ants in here too, but we're just gonna go ahead and pull this one up and see what's in here. There's one. And there's one. That's a good one right there. These are red potatoes. Oh, there's another one. So we got 3 there. Just want to make sure I get them all. That might be it. Okay. Let's take this out. All right, I think that's it. I don't want to dig around too much and disturb other plants. See, there's one that the chickens got. It totally died. They broke it off. So, but I don't want to dig around too much and disturb everything else. So, these 3 potatoes will be plenty for Mikey. So, let me put this netting back down, keep the birds out of there. I really like the way that netting worked out. Whoop. So I'll set these out and just let them dry for the next 3 days. Oh, check this out. We got a potato plant, a tomato plant. It'll never make, obviously, because we do normally get a freeze in November. I'm gonna stick these filthy potatoes in my pocket so I don't drop them again. I know where the washing machine is. Okay. So something else up here in the garden. is we still have these pepper plants. So this is an Anaheim, and it's still got peppers on it. And then we've got this one here, which is a giant Marconi plant. Now I did pull 99% of the peppers off of these plants because it was supposed to get really cold, and I wanted to save the peppers in case the plants froze and died. But there are still a few. So there's giant Marconi. It's not very giant right now. This plant's dying. We've got this one here, still nice and green. This is a bell plant. Still got some peppers on it, some decent sized ones, nothing huge. This one's dying back. There's another one with a good pepper on there. So there's some more here. This one I believe had a bunch of babies on it when I harvested. Look, here's a good pepper right there. And yeah, so there's a few peppers on this plant. I'm still kind of amazed. Look at all these peppers right here. That pepper's kind of turning yellow, but look at that. I was quite amazed. These peppers really took off this fall. So I'm thinking I need to adjust my planting schedule. I definitely think that I should plant them later in the year, because through the whole summer when I thought they would be growing, because I planted them in the spring, I mean, they grew, but we didn't get that many peppers. We definitely got a ton more peppers this fall. So I need to put some thought into that. I also need to put it on a calendar so I don't forget. But what I want to do with some of these is I want to try to overwinter them. Now I tried that once before and they died off because I didn't have anywhere to put them. And I really still don't have anywhere to put them. You're supposed to keep them somewhere around like 50 degrees. And the only place I can think to put them where it might stay that is the walk-in cooler. My bedroom has heat, which will be on, you know, when it's cold, but that means it's going to be 70, 75 degrees in there. The kitchen doesn't have heat except for the wood stove, so through the coldest hours of the night, it's going to get way below 50 degrees. So that's not an option. There's always the Winnebago, because it does have its own heater, and we do keep the heat on. But again, we keep the heat on so that we're not cold when we go in there, which means it's going to be, you know, 65, 70 degrees in there. Again, more than 50. So the only option is the walk-in cooler. And it's not going to hurt anything to set them in there. So, I mean, it's worth a shot, because if I could overwinter these peppers, that would give them a jump start for next year, and maybe we would actually get more peppers in the spring and summertime instead of having to wait until fall. So that's a project that I really want to get done. Problem with these projects is there's so many of them, and I have a hard time finding the time for things, especially lately. I was laid up in bed for 10 days. I had gone to the doctor because somehow I ended up hurting myself. I didn't do anything. I didn't lift anything, but my upper back just felt like it was on fire. I couldn't figure out if it was muscles or nerve pain. I couldn't figure out what it was. I was sitting on heating pads. I was taking ibuprofen, but it would not go away. So I finally went to the doctor. And if you knew me, you'd know if I go to the doctor willingly, then I'm desperate, because I don't go to the doctor for anything. I figure, what's the doctor going to do? He's going to give you, you know, if you have a cold or you have the flu or something like that, he's going to tell you stay home, drink plenty of fluids, get some rest. So unless it's like a broken bone or you need stitches, I never go to the doctor. And I have never needed stitches other than surgeries. And last time I broke a bone, I was 14. So anyway, I went to the doctor. He put me on a lot of medications. He put me on some for nerve pain, muscle pain, put me on a steroid. So I was on all that for 10 days. So I was laid up. I didn't do anything for those 10 days. And it did work. The pain went away. Thank goodness. Anyways, right after that, we butchered some of our chickens that we had hatched in the spring. We still have more to butcher, but I was tired of feeding them. We butchered the 3 turkeys that we had, that we were raising up for that, and we butchered all the extra roosters that we had. Well, we still have 2 extra roosters, but they're in the pen with some hens. Those hens and roosters will get butchered soon. But anyways, so we butchered those birds, and I don't know, maybe 10 minutes after we finished, we sat down and Eddie said, I don't feel too good. And I told him, well, why don't you go lay down? So he went and laid down, and within 5 minutes, I wasn't feeling good. I was like, wow. And I wasn't sick to my stomach. I felt super tired and just really drained. Well, the day before, I had had a chemical stress test done for my heart, just to check on everything, because heart disease runs in my family. And I kind of felt like that. I kind of felt like there was a lot of adrenaline, and then it just drained, and I felt drained. So I just laid on the couch, and supper time rolled around, and I could not make myself get up to do it. I was just so drained, and I was kind of lightheaded. So I didn't get up and make supper. I told Ocean, you're gonna have to do something about supper. I can't make myself get up. So anyways, about 3 days, Eddie and I were sick. I still get waves of nausea a little bit, but I feel so much better. So does he. He went out hunting this morning. All that to say, we've spent some time laid up and not getting anything done, and there is a ton to be done, and it's just a matter of picking what you can do, what you want to do, what you have time to do. I want to show you one more thing that I started working on, and I had thought of making a video doing this, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it, and I didn't know if it was going to work. And I know I could show my failures. I'm not worried about showing my failures. And I really did think about making a video and showing you what I was doing. And then I kind of just like dove in head first and started doing it, and I totally forgot the camera. So let me show you. Ocean asked me if I could build him a dresser. So he went to Home Depot and he bought some 2x4s. And I was like, you want me to build you a dresser out of 2x4s? Now I won't buy plywood, like 3/4 plywood, because it's like $80 a sheet. And I'm like, I don't know how to build a dresser without plywood. I could go on YouTube and I could find a video on how to build a dresser, and they're all going to use plywood. So I was like, I don't think it's possible. I said, but tell me what size you want, and let me see what I can think of. Well, this is what I thought up. It's still a work in progress. This is the first drawer that I put together, and I'm not putting any money into this. So the drawers do not have runners, you know, the metal runners on the sides or the bottom. So I'm not putting any money into this. So on the inside here, the drawers, I'm going to use some paste wax, and I'm going to wax these, but the drawers will just run on these. So this is the first drawer. Doesn't have the back on the drawer. I was just testing the fit. I want it to fit nice and tight, so that when you pull it out, it doesn't drop down in the front. And it seems that I got it very well. It won't go in all the way because my corner clamps are on here, but that's working out great. Just a bunch of stuff on the top that I was using for things. So I milled down some 2x4s, resawed them, I guess you would call it, into these 1/4 inch pieces here. And I used some of those on these side panels. So I have the framework built with some 1x2s, and then I cut a groove in the 1x2, and then I put these slats in here so it has a bit of a reveal, or I don't know what you call it. But anyway, so I made all these. They're loose from each other. They're not glued together for wood movement, whatever. So yeah. So that's what I've been working on in my spare time. This is going to have 4 drawers in it. That's what He wanted 3, but they would have been a little bit too deep and heavy. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all the same size. So yeah, I've got the whole cabinet part done. I don't have the top done yet. Not sure what I'm going to use on that. But it's all made out of 2x4s, except the drawers. I did have some 3/4 inch plywood left over from the floor of the house. There's my scrap plywood. But I did make up all the drawer box panels with the leftover plywood. I cut a groove in the bottom for the bottoms. And so we've been using the 2x4s that Ocean bought, my scrap plywood, and then I did purchase 1 sheet of 1/4 inch plywood for the drawer bottoms. And they're sitting here turning into a smiley face because I was sick for a few days there. So I think I'm gonna flip these over and let them bow in the other direction. But I'm hoping to get that done before Christmas. I bought some stain for it. And I still need to come up with the top. Now I have this wood up here that Ocean got last year. It's some gum wood. And I'm thinking about using that for the top. It's either that or plywood. I do have some cedar that I cut down. These are some cedar planks, 1 inch. I could make the top out of cedar, but it really wouldn't match the color for the stain that I picked out. So probably gonna go with gum wood. So I've been working on that project, and like I said, I would have loved to show you me building it, but I'm not a furniture maker, I'm not a woodworker, I'm just a wannabe play around with wood. So it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of I wonder if this will work, I wonder if that will work. And I know some of you guys are probably great woodworkers and you could tell me exactly how to do it, but it's just a lot more fun when you figure it out yourself. So that's the way it is. When it's all done, I will show it to you. Hopefully it works out. I'm excited about it. I know Ocean's excited about it. He really wants a dresser, and he's not too picky, so. I mean, I think it'll look good. I'm a little bit worried about the smoothness of the drawers going in and out, but like I said, I'm gonna put some paste wax on it and hope that makes it be able to slide in and out nice and smoothly. So that's it, guys. That is the update for today. It is 10 o'clock a.m. obviously. I want to go hunting this afternoon about 2:30, which means I have to figure out what's for supper before then, because Eddie doesn't like to cook, so he tells me that he doesn't know how to cook. So before I ever go hunting, I always make sure to have supper either cooking or ready to go into the oven, and all he has to do is turn the stove on. So I'm gonna figure out what's for dinner and then decide what I'm gonna do with the rest of the day. But I wanted to give you guys an update, and hopefully we will get back to some normal vlogging here for a while. The house is gonna be on hold at least until January. We were gonna put up another wall in December, but we decided against that because I don't think Christmas time is the best time to be spending all of our extra money on the house. So it's on hold till at least January. So let's get some other stuff done, huh? All right, guys, I will see you next time.